Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show. I'm Pete Gruber. This is our artificial intelligence podcast that we do every week, and I do this one solo. What we have behind me here is an AI-generated image using DALL-E of a automated AI attendant at Wendy's. Wendy's apparently is beginning to test AI in some of their drive-thrus, so it may not be every single one, but you can see that AI did a pretty good job of giving a representation of what AI might look like at a drive-through. The only difference between what they're actually doing and what this picture is illustrating is the face of the robot there and the hand, robot hand that is, but the kiosk looks very much like this. For those of you that have been watching this podcast for some time, I usually complain, and we used to do these Sunday mornings, and Sunday mornings is the only morning that I go to Starbucks and drink coffee and get donuts. I'm kind of a health nut, and it's the only day that I take a break from the routines of eating healthy every day. And was usually disappointed with my Starbucks experience because despite the fact that I would carefully give them the same description, iced, decaf, breve, venti, latte with 4 pumps of vanilla. And it doesn't matter what order I say them in. I get up to the window and it's the wrong, ingredients about 50% of the time. And I get it. I mean, I get up early, and this would have been at like 6 o'clock in the morning to maybe 7 o'clock. Nobody wants to work that early on a Sunday morning. They're bored. And so my order was usually goofed up, and I kept saying over and over again, we need AI. AI will do so much better job because it doesn't miss stuff, Yeah. And if it does, it's going to ask me, are you sure you want this? Or you got the wrong combination or whatever it is. It is very accurate and, without error. So I'm glad to see that fast food is finally beginning to incorporate AI into their customer service experience. Now, of course, the detractors, the AI detractors are going to say, well, what's going to happen to the human beings that are doing that job? Well, I know what's going to happen immediately with my Starbucks crowd. They're going to stay in bed and sleep. They're going to get some more rest. Now, what are they going to do for a career? Well, I'm hoping that they will aspire to something greater than sitting in a window at Starbucks Sunday morning and doling out coffee. There's a lot of other careers that they could engage in.
Well, in the meantime, they have to make the coffee, right? So the Wendy's is just taking orders with AI. We don't have the sweet, fully autonomous back end yet, where it's flipping the burgers, doing all that with robots. We're not quite to that point yet.
Right. Yeah. Although it's coming. I think there is a robot that flips burgers somewhere. Forget who it was. Burger King, maybe.
Yeah. So then they'll all just become those managers, right? That kind of, you just stand there and watch all the robots, make sure they're functioning.
And, at the Starbucks process, it's someone is on a headset that is monitoring the drive-through. And when you come up there, they are the ones that take your order. I'm sure they have little pictures on their screen rather than having to type in the precise instructions. Yeah. So they hit those pictures, and then there's a barista somewhere that also has a screen, and they're getting the visual of what that customer requested. So it's actually a 2-person process, at least at Starbucks. But looking forward to having fast food using AI. I think it will prevent the bottlenecks. Every time they get my order wrong, it delays the line. They have to remake it,
Yep.
And I'm sure I'm not, unless they singled me out, I'm usually pretty nice to them. I'm sure I'm not the only one. So you add those inefficiencies.
I think what happens too is they get really busy and they're trying to listen. Because I used to do this a long time ago, 20 years ago when I worked at Taco Bell. I would have somebody talking through the speaker as I'm working the drive-through, and I'm filling up someone else's drink. I'm trying to remember the last couple items that they said and how they want them, and then I quickly run over there and type them in and catch up to them as they're still ordering. Yeah. So I think they miss certain things like add this or remove that, or I think that it's just the efficiency is going to, or accuracy too, is going to improve a lot.
Yeah. I think it's daunting for the human mind to have to juggle, those tidbits of information, which of course is where AI shines. I mean, the data sets that it can handle are infinitely larger than what we can process. So anyway, there you go, Wendy's, and that's the reason for the background picture. It looks like we've got some people joining us. Tell us where you're coming in from. Highlander's with us. Good morning, Highlander. How are you? He says, my credit union is doing something similar with ATMs.
Oh,
Very
nice.
cool. And Stephen Rose is here this morning. He says, good morning as well. Highlander, again, good morning. Oh, they're talking to each other now. Good morning, gang. There we go. And then Steven says, we still need to figure out how to teach AI to spell correctly. Boy, he nailed that. And yeah, the chat programs, although if you notice that Wendy's, something's wrong with that Y. It's got 2 apostrophes above it, but the rest of it I think is accurate.
What do they call that? The German thing with the 2 dots?
Oh, umlaut.
Umlaut, that's
Yeah.
right.
And there is no Y umlaut in German. In fact, I don't think Y exists in German.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, the German language is kind of unique in that there's no such thing as a spelling bee. Because once you've said the word, in German, you have to pronounce every single vowel and every single consonant. So once you've said it, you've given away what the word is. It's not like in the US where you have a word like knife and you have a silent K, right? So the problem that they run into is once in a while they would like their vowels to sound a bit different. So they put the 2 little dots above it, and that's your tip-off that it's not a long I or a short E, right? Whereas in other countries, you never know really how to pronounce that. The German pronunciation of knife, for example, would be Kniffe. And there's only one way to say that I, and it's E, just like I said. But if you have an umlaut above it, then it can change. Anyway, there's your German lesson. I'm going to be there in a month, by the way. The Tesla takeover is taking place in
Real quick,
Flachau.
can you put your mic a little more in front of you?
Okay.
Thank you.
Flachau, Austria. I'd like to give that a plug because it's the first European Tesla event, and EVs are beginning to become ubiquitous in Europe, which is a great thing. We want them to be that way all over the planet. We had a podcast guest yesterday, and he says, my goal is to eliminate every gas station on this planet. That's
a good goal.
Jerry Kroll, the owner of Solo, Electromechanica Solo. It's now called Solo Automotive, Inc., I believe.
Yeah, that's his company, is Solo Automotive.
Yep. So here's an interesting X post. And someone's saying it's been an insane week for AI.
Let me try and find that one.
It's been daily, actually. There are new developments, new applications coming out, new advances. And anyway, one of the ones that he listed was an application called Simulon, Simulon. And it is an application, AI, that can add any 3D model to your real footage video in a matter of minutes. And we don't have a video.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the video right now. I'm grabbing the link.
Okay. But it will actually allow you to insert things in videos that weren't there originally with an extraordinary degree of detail. And what they're saying was, by using pre-existing 3D models, creating and rendering a video like this, which he's going to show in a minute here, takes just a few minutes.
All right, I got it. Let's see if I can pull this up here.
They say that for ultra-detailed reflections, 3D artists might prefer replacing the ML-generated HDRI with a high-resolution one captured manually. There we go, and we can run that, right? Pick your color, yeah.
It's crazy just how it does the perspective and how realistic it looks.
And the reflection, too, if you
the
notice.
reflections of the light. And
now, that looks like studio lighting. Could be the sun. I mean, you could be... Well, no, there are clouds in there.
Yeah, there's clouds in there. I have no idea how it's doing that, but that's the AI. It's figuring out the environment and generating all that on the fly.
And they say even though that you can tweak this a bit by, I guess, adding some things... For most applications, they say the results straight out of the app will work just great. So there's another compelling reason that Hollywood is about to change. Set designers,
Yes, seeing that makes it understandable why he canceled his studios, that director.
Yeah, in the Southeast. Any word on that, by the way, or is it just simply canceled? And
I haven't heard any updates. I'll see if I can find anything.
Yeah. All right. So here's an interesting article, but before we get there, it looks like we've got some more people chiming in. Highlander saying, thank you to the video team for update on Sandy's May 4th get-together. I got the info before the policy was changed. Okay. And Highlander's also saying, as far as AI spelling goes, that's what the social media team is for. Okay.
Yeah, keep us employed.
Obertowski is joining us. Hello, Mr. Gruber, he says. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. And Guven Mengu says, good morning. I hope you're doing great, and I hope you like the AI jingle for your company. You know, if you sent that to us, did you guys get that? Because I didn't get
that.
it.
Yeah, which let us know which email you sent that to so we can try and find that.
Yeah, ev@gruber.com. But you know what? While we're on the topic of jingles, Jesse has been using Suno,
yeah.
Suno. And he did a Gruber jingle. I asked him one day, you know, let's post something on Facebook. We've got, some roadster sites there that are definitely interested in what Gruber Motor Company is doing. We repair roadsters. So he created a jingle for Gruber Motor Company, and we actually have it out here to play for you. Now, I'm going to preface it. It's a bit hokey. It's not like a classical piece from a master composer, but it's kind of like those attorney jingles that you get on late night television. So if that gives you a perspective, I don't know if we can play that, but let's see if we can bring that up.
Let me see if it comes through here.
We've got MP3 and MP4.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
Actually, that sounded pretty good. Oh, it didn't start at the beginning?
Yeah, I was already kind of playing because I had my sound off. All right, here we go.
My feet are dancing. Now, what is so amazing about what you just heard here? All of this is AI. There isn't a real instrument in there anywhere. There are no people singing.
Not only that, but the lyrics were written by AI. The whole harmonies, all of it, everything completely generated by AI in less than a minute.
The beat, all of that. Now, you were saying that you use Suno to now create playlists to listen to music on the way to work.
Yeah, well, I use it kind of for, to play my own songs that I'm creating in Suno. So when I make a song, you can add it to a playlist. They also have updated their website, and they're updating it every day, where you go in there and they have new explore features to where you can find other people's songs, because you can choose to make them public when you create them. And if you make them public, people can find them. There are some out there that have 500,000 plays already, and I'm putting those into various playlists when I find ones that I like, but some of them are pretty crazy and out there too.
So now here's the rabbit hole, right? We're all used to having artists create wonderful music that appeals to, to us. And eventually, if it's a large enough audience, they get recognized. And you've got the Grammy Awards, you've got a number of different award type ceremonies, and they go on tour.
Yeah.
We're going to have AI stuff that is going to resonate just like this, or even better, right?
Yeah.
Go viral. How then does AI get any recognition? Will there be a Grammy Awards for AI? And if so, who shows up to take the Oscar, the trophy, the whatever the thing is,
yeah. Who wins?
Yeah.
Who wins the award? That's a good question. I don't know. I think is AI going to be able to tour? We'll have to find out.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother thing. How would they tour? And would the experience of going to a concert then alter drastically?
Yeah. Well, I know that they do holograms. So some dead music artists from the past who've passed away years ago, they bring them out on stage in a hologram kind of a presentation.
yeah.
So we can try that. Make a hologram AI performer.
Yeah, like a recreation. So brace yourself. It looks like our future is going to be full of awe and mystery and unanswered questions at this point, but we can certainly speculate where it's all going to end up and go. Highlander says, sounds like modern German Japanese, the jingle that is, our jingle.
Okay. Well, I don't have access to that, Pete. Do you have access to that email, Evie@Gruber, right there on your computer?
Yes, I do, actually.
Because Guven Mengu is saying that they sent the jingle they made to Evie@Gruber.com on April 19th.
Okay. Maybe it went over to shop and they said, we have no idea what this is.
Maybe they filed it away somewhere.
Yeah, it's coming up here.
And then the other thing, it looks like... Okay, no, we're good. I thought we were frozen on TikTok, but TikTok is still live for the time being. Hopefully,
yeah,
we get to keep them going until they get banned.
But we have 9 months, apparently.
Yeah, we got 9 months,
Yeah.
so we got some time.
And what they badly need is a U.S. company to acquire them, merge with them, or in some way legitimize it so that it's more of a American.
Well, they have a 200 million or 180 million user base, I think is what they keep saying.
Yeah.
The CEO. So I would imagine the offers are coming in now.
Yeah.
For people to buy them.
Absolutely.
I think Mark Cuban talked about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in it now. I don't see it yet. I will do that after the show. And the date was April. Oh, you've got it written down, right?
19th, yeah.
Yeah, 19th. Okay. We'll look for it, Guven Mangu, and see if we can get that. So here's a headline. OpenAI's GPT-4 outperforms doctors in another new study. And the subset here is, it may know more about treating eye problems than your own general practitioner. And what they've done here is, of course, OpenAI's most powerful AI model outperformed junior doctors in deciding how to treat patients with eye problems. And it came close to scoring as high as expert ophthalmologists. Ophthalmologist?
Ophthalmologist?
Okay, whatever that is. It's got too many O's in it. At least on this test, they say. The challenge was, when doctors are in med school, they rotate across clinical areas, spending time with specialists in surgery, psychiatry, there it is again, ophthalmology, there it goes, and to more ensure that they have a basic knowledge of all the subjects by the time they get their medical license. If they become a GP, general practitioner, though, they may rarely use the info they learned in some of these specialties in treating less common conditions. Well, the statistics are that ChatGPT-4 significantly outperformed junior doctors, scoring 69% compared to 43%. I mean, it's no mystery that these kinds of crafts or careers are much better served by an AI, powerful AI, presence or capability. And in the world of diagnosing, which is basically what healthcare is, symptom versus, successful resolution type merging, AI does so much better, so much of a better job at that, and looking at all of the various clues, which are, can now broaden if we've got AI involved. This research, by the way, was done by the University of Cambridge, and they also tested other large language models. And let's see what else we have here. They also gave the test to expert, here we go again, ophthalmologists. I think I got it. Ophthalmologists, yes.
Yep.
Trainees working to become ophthalmologists. This paragraph is just going to make me say that word another half a dozen times. They're messing with me. All right, let me start again. They also gave the test to expert ophthalmologists, trainees working to become ophthalmologists, and unspecialized junior doctors who have about as much knowledge of eye problems as general practitioners. So again, AI shown in this case. And what they say was, what this work shows is that the knowledge and reasoning ability of these large language models in eye health context is now almost indistinguishable from experts. Looking ahead, the Cambridge team doesn't think that LLMs will replace doctors, but they do envision the system being integrated into the clinical workflows. So, again, augmentation. All right. Elon Musk is in the news again. There's a picture of him in a tuxedo. And what he says is he would know if there are aliens out there with all the Starlink satellites that he has orbiting Earth. Now, I think he's done an about face there because he's always been a proponent of, more intelligent life, other life forms out there, and which supports, of course, his premise that we need to leave the planet. We need to explore space. But most recently, apparently, he doesn't think that there are aliens out there because they put thousands of satellites into space. In fact, exactly 6,000 so far that are orbiting Earth. And he says, I think I would know if there were aliens out there. You know, he's got a point there because if you remember, all of the alien footage in the previous century was related to flying discs hovering, in above Earth's or in Earth's atmosphere somewhere. And he's probably right. If these satellites have the ability to perceive and see, then you would think that they would be able to, find aliens.
Yeah. Well, the prevailing theory that I believe is that the only way to travel across the universe, great distances, would be something other than the speed of light, because the speed of light is still slow compared to. So when you get to wormholes and all that, you're talking about extra dimensional type things to where I don't think we can detect it. Yeah. With what we know of how to observe the universe, I don't think we have the capability of even knowing that they're out there.
And a new set of physics might apply with that kind of transport, rapid transport. They say that this isn't the first time that Elon has publicly contemplated the existence of extraterrestrials. In June of 2018, he said in an X post that it is unknown whether we are the only civilization currently alive in the observable universe. But this, Musk said, meant that there was added impetus for extending life beyond Earth. The scariest answer, they say, to the Fermi paradox. By the way, we've got a picture of Enrico Fermi. Let me get rid of my email program here, who was a scientist at Los Alamos Labs in the 1950s. And he apparently has been credited with the Fermi paradox, that there is or are no aliens at all. And his justification for that was, look around you. He was the first to ask in 1950, with a universe as large as it is, where are the aliens? Why aren't they coming to see us? It was the same type of question, perplexing question, that I posted to Quora when they first came out. It was like 10 years ago. And that question was being entertained and debated for years after posting it. And I simply said, we all know that technology is improving rapidly, and we have no idea where it's going to go, but we know it's going to be beyond our comprehension because that's been the track record. So we know that time travel is going to be a reality at some point in our history.
Yep.
With that being the case, why aren't people from the future coming back to see us in the present? And that created an enormous amount of debate.
See, then the paradoxes begin, because then once they come back in time, this for them becomes their present. So we're no longer the past.
Oh, you're blowing my mind.
And then, then we go down rabbit holes.
Right. All right. So Microsoft has a new AI capability called VASA-1. And this is an AI program. Oh, Highlander just gave me an out for that ophthalmologist thing that I was having a hard time with. He says, just say eye doctor, Pete. And he's right, Eye doctor is far more or easier to pronounce. So this VASA-1 program or AI application can deepfake a person with one photo and one audio track. And when we looked at it earlier this week, they literally took a color photograph of an individual, not knowing their personality or anything, and I guess some audio from that individual, very brief. And suddenly we've got an individual speaking to us in their voice with mannerisms that very closely mirrored.
Oh, you're talking about VASA.
VASA.
Yeah.
-1.
Okay. I'll try and find that. By
Um,
the way,
yeah.
real quick, let me know. Tig Welder 91 says that you can't hear me on TikTok, so I just made a change. Let me know if you can hear me.
Oh, okay. TIG welder. I'm trying to learn how to do aluminum welding. I have these challenges in my personal life. I've got MIG welding down fairly well, but TIG welding is kicking my butt all the time. You have so many things to consider. The tungsten rod has to be sharpened, and you can't grind it on a grinding wheel that's been ground with steel because you contaminate the tungsten or something. And the arc and controlling it. You know, what I'd love to do is weld like our master welder at the Gruber Motor Company machine shop. He can literally weld aluminum and make it look like a stack of dimes. And I watched him one day, and what he's doing is he's actually pulsing the pedal with his foot at the same time moving his hand. It's a skill that definitely requires some development and some practice. So if you're doing TIG welding, I'm impressed. You've got my respect.
You see the response?
You must practice. Yes, exactly. Obertowski says, if you had to go 1 million light years away, you would travel in a fully sustainable environment like our Earth. Welcome on board, gentlemen. Not sure what he means by sustainable environment like our Earth.
An environment that can have life, conditions for life.
So the environment that the vessel or the rocket ship or whatever we're going to use to get 1 million miles from Earth. 1 million light years away. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Mind blown.
Yeah.
Highlander says, if you were an advanced civilization doing well, why would you want to study a little microbe like the human species? Just the
That's
thought,
a good point.
the Highlander. You know, there's another good point. And I was talking about this just before the podcast. What would we do if an alien successfully landed here? Mm-hmm. Depending on the government, most likely they'd lock it up, then do an autopsy. They'd hide it from the public so they don't create anarchy, right? We're still a pretty hostile place to visit.
Well, remember, that's what we just had. We just had the guy who's like a 20-year veteran and with the highest level security clearance who just went and testified in front of Congress that a bunch of different people have reported we have actual non-human biologics, is how he phrased it, in terms of what we recovered, and then also craft, like a bunch of craft, apparently, different spacecraft.
And what kind of reception did they get? Well, it wasn't a ticker tape parade in New York. It was, sequestered, hidden from the public. If all of this is true, of course,
Yeah. We still haven't been any updates that I've seen recently.
All right, so getting back to this VASA, and by the way, it stands for Visual Effective Skills Animator. I think the acronym is much better. On Tuesday, last week, Microsoft Research Asia unveiled VASA-1. It's an AI model that can create a synchronized animated video of a person talking or singing from a single photo and an existing audio track. In the future, it could power virtual avatars that render locally and don't require video feeds, or allow anyone with similar tools to take a photo of a person found online and make them appear to say whatever they want. Now, I know you're going to go down that road now with the bad actors. How are they going to use this? But let's look at the positive aspects of this first. They say it paves the way for real-time engagements with lifelike avatars that emulate human conversational behaviors. So forget about Zoom calls, right? We're going to have...
Yes, I have it up.
Oh, you're going to bring it up. Okay.
And one more. James Hill on TikTok says, if aliens came here, I would ask to go with them. I agree.
You'd leave the planet, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they had the technology that allowed them to come here from millions of light years away, it probably is a far more utopian society than what we have on this planet. Oh, there's the background, yeah.
Happens, and sometimes everything happens all at once, and you just gotta deal with it. And it's also just strange to both be extremely worried about different things and have your anxiety levels like peak to the highest they've ever been, and then also be extremely happy and grateful that you were able to buy an apartment. It's all these conflicting emotions. They had their way with me. Let's just say I had so many opportunities to practice what I preach, so I tried my best to take care of myself. I tried my best to stay mindful, to meditate, just really listening and responding to what I needed. And I do believe that having a practice like that really does help. And then fun little addition to that as well is that we had 4 days together, my boyfriend and I, grid. We booked it like, I don't know when did that, like maybe December or.
That is just a still image
from a photograph.
That was fully animated, yeah.
Fully animated. And you know what? When I watched this on my monitor up close, the details I was looking for, was there saliva on the tongue? There was, and it varied, The grimacing that she does, raising the brow, for example. I was looking for the eyes, and it was so convincing that if I didn't know that this was actually an AI-generated image, I would be completely fooled.
There's no way to tell.
No.
Especially if you're not watching it like super close up like you were. If you're just watching a little preview of it, it's extremely realistic.
So they say the VASA framework uses machine learning to analyze a static image along with a speech audio clip. It is then able to generate a realistic video with precise facial expressions, head movements, and lip syncing to the audio. It does not clone or simulate voices like other Microsoft research product, but relies on an existing audio input that could be specifically recorded or spoken for a particular purpose. And then, of course, we don't have to predict here how bad actors could use something like this. So to show the model, Microsoft created VASA-1 and many sampled videos. So those of you interested, Google this. It's pretty mind-blowing, actually. They show how a model can be controlled to express different moods or changes to its eye gaze. The example also includes some more fanciful generations, such as Mona Lisa rapping to an audio track of Anne Hathaway performing a paparazzi song on Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, I think they have that one. Let me see.
Yeah. That one wasn't as convincing. Of course, I don't know Mona Lisa, so I don't know what her facial expressions would have been like. But I think the young lady there that we had earlier,
that one was pretty real, yeah.
I don't play no yard. See, I go pop, 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 pop. My camera's up your crotch. See, I tell the truth from what I see. And
look at the facial expressions. It's extremely emotive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we never saw her teeth, I think, in the original Mona Lisa. I think there was a hint of it, perhaps. But this is going to be a lot of fun. So this is where AI is taking us. It's becoming very entertaining as well. All right. So Highlander says, wow, look at her eye movements. It's so realistic. Absolutely. And Stephen Rose says, I wonder how AI would design sunglasses for Gruber Motors. We actually, our guest yesterday was saying that we had him wearing sunglasses, by the way, and this was the set. We have an extra one here now for guests. And he was saying, you know what? If this keeps up, all this mystique around the sunglasses, they're going to be people that want to be on your podcast just so they can wear sunglasses on a podcast. And what you should do is design a set that's specific to Gruber Motor Company or the Gruber podcasts, which is not a bad idea. Designer glasses, designer sunglasses. And then again, he says, people will come on your podcast just to get a set of those or a pair of those.
Very true.
Yeah. Tig Welder is here again. He says, maybe aliens have some other welding technologies. Oh, you know what, Tig Welder? My prediction there would be that this would happen on a molecular level, merging molecules and, atoms. We no longer need heat. We no longer need, feeding metal into something to merge it.
Well, that's some of the tech that they've seen in those alien craft, right? It's it defies our current understanding of physics. There are no propulsion systems, for example. There's no exhaust. In some of the currently released video that has been verified as, they call it unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs.
Yeah, that's right. They did change it.
So in those craft, they're seeming to accelerate instantly to G-forces that people wouldn't survive, and there's no exhaust or acceleration. So who knows if they would need welding or any other type of tech.
So they're not burning fossil fuels
No.
or hydrogen and oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, much cleaner, but still. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take too much to stretch the imagination based on our trajectory over the last 100 years, the kind of technologies that have come into existence, and predicting what the next decades or 100 years are going to be. Anti-gravity, for example.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll understand that and be able to manipulate it in any way we want. And then you can have tailor-made materials. What kind of heat coefficients do you want? What's the hardness like? What do you want it to do as temperature changes? All of that can be programmed into this level of technology where you're actually controlling it at the molecular level, creating new compounds, new materials, new minerals, all of that. Fascinating stuff. So here's another article, Life After the Hype. How is AI transforming industries and economies? Well, healthcare is a big one, and we're pretty excited about that because remember, we still have diseases on this planet that are killing people, and we haven't quite figured out how to resolve those. The pandemic was a good one, that was a recent one, but things like cancer, for example, heart disease. So healthcare is definitely going to benefit by having something far more intelligent than us doing the research, the analysis, and coming up with new solutions. They say that doctors are using generative AI now to help capture summaries of large amounts of medical literature or brainstorming potential causes of hard-to-diagnose conditions. Perfect for AI, examining lots of variations. They say hospitals are also using personas to better empathize with individual patients to anticipate their needs or communicate with them in a more understandable way. And that, of course, also transcends into interpreting language. We've got AI now that's actually able to take that Spanish-speaking patient and translate for the English-speaking doctor or nurse practitioner seamlessly, whether it's over the air or whether it's in person. It will do the translation.
Yeah, I think it would be more accurate too, depending on if a human translator versus an AI. It's going to do it faster and probably get the context more accurate because it has a larger comparison data set to go against than the experience of a human translator would, I would imagine.
The most recent version of that was the interview with Putin. If you remember, Tucker Carlson was sitting there. He had a quizzical look on his face. And I initially thought that Putin was actually hesitating. He wasn't. He was waiting for the interpreter to give him the rest of the story. Exactly, yeah.
In his ear.
So, body language cues there were not quite accurate. I quickly adjusted. So here's another area that they say that AI is making a major impact, law. Legal firms are using AI to stress test the strength of arguments and explore ways to negotiate middle ground. The technology is also being used to support humans performing contract review by looking for specific terms such as indemnification and identifying sections for further human review. Remember, paralegals would have to go through stacks of paper to find words like this, to find any occurrence. We now have software that does that. Agriculture. What is it?
It's all about speed.
Oh, speed, yeah. Efficiency, exactly. Agriculture is another big one. They say AI is helping farmers with irrigation optimization, and that's important, especially here in the Southwest, because remember, by the time the Colorado River, which is basically our lifeline, both for California and Arizona, gets to Mexico, it's a small stream. not much left. So optimization becomes important because that little stream that's getting to Mexico, in the meantime, the demands between the two states I mentioned are increasing. And we certainly cannot live without water in our desert arid environment here in the state of Arizona. So definitely agricultures, and they say that with agriculture, it can collect and analyze hectare by hectare data on temperature, humidity, and wind speed and direction, among others. And farmers can then use generative AI to find possible causes of and remedies for low crop yield or identify pests and diseases. We've reported on this before, the AI robots that are now going through fields.
Yeah.
That are laser zapping weeds. Controlling pests far more efficiently with less
They're
volatility.
Also picking the fruit, and their drones flying around, cleaning buildings. All those autonomous machines are coming.
Mm-hmm. Highlander says, if I'm able to show up, I won't be needing a pair of sunglasses. Okay, he's got his own. Did I miss one before then? Nope.
There was one before that I didn't copy. He said, hold on. Something about, don't be surprised if I show up in a kilt.
Oh, a kilt. Okay, yeah, that would be, and you got to be on our podcast. If you're going to show up in a kilt, that's going to be a huge draw, I think. He also says, Pete, do you remember Project Blue Book of the Air Force in the early 70s? It was an actual Air Force program looking looking for UFOs. I do recall something about that. And
that's what SETI is, right?
Radio, that's a radio gigantic antenna in South America that is looking for radio signals, unusual patterns and all that. Mm-hmm. Tig Welder 91 says, maybe AI is newborn alien on Earth. Now, there's an interesting, provocative thought.
Yeah.
My theory is that the only purpose for humans is to make the AI.
Ooh. That's kind of
we often talk about
scary.
that. How does AI regard humans, or how will it regard humans as it continues to accelerate and become far brighter than we are? And it's conceivable that we will become the pets and the insects of the AI world. And we're hoping that we still have value in that equation. So here's a building now in South Korea, and where robots roam freely. It's a 28-story robot-friendly building, and the brainy bots are called Rookie Autonomous Service Robots. The building is called 1784, and it takes its inspiration from the start of the Industrial Revolution. What they show here is these they don't look like humanoid robots. They're more like R2-D2, I suppose. At this 28-story building, robots are like the friendly ghosts drifting around without a care. So these rookie autonomous service robots, however, are the stars of the show, zipping around the floors, carrying stuff, and even hitching rides in lifts. It's like a sci-fi movie come to life, they say. This futuristic marvel is dubbed 1784, and it takes its inspiration from the Industrial Revolution, of course.
Okay.
And the company is Naver Labs in South Korea. Naver, it turns out, who are they? Well, they're the masterminds behind the search engine Naver, transforming the world of tech since their inception since 1999.
I have the video.
Do you? Okay. Their headquarters is in Seongnam, South Korea, and it's been leading the charge in internet innovation, they say, with a global reach that spans far and wide. The cheeky machines have made themselves right at home in the 1784 building. Wow, look at that. There are two of them. I'm only showing one here in the picture.
That's a video.
There we go.
They've got their lines all marked out and everything.
And they're interacting with humans.
They have their own personal elevators.
Uh-huh.
Very robot friendly. This is what I imagine the future is going to look like. Our lives are going to be integrated with these things sooner rather than later.
We coexist. Look at delivering food, delivering packages.
And coffee and all that, yeah.
Yeah. The test bed, they call it. And they do whisk from floor to floor, as the article points out. And it says it's not just the robots that are smart around here. Everything from lighting to the temperature is controlled with a touch of a button. It's like living in the future where you can expect robots to even make coffee for us. There you go. All right. Scott says, the pets of AI. Love that. Yeah. We're already headed that way. And here's the next article, actually. They say, stand back and take a look at the last 2 years of AI progress as a whole. AI is catching up with humans so quickly in so many areas that, frankly, we need new tests.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford University. Oh, it looks like we've got a visitor outside the studio there.
There's some loud noises.
Stanford University has released the 7th annual issue of its comprehensive AI index report, and it was written by an interdisciplinary team of academic and industrial experts. And this edition has more content than previous editions, reflecting the rapid evolution of AI and its growing significance beyond our everyday lives. It examines everything from which sectors AI is most, to which country that is most nervous about losing jobs to AI. But one of the most salient takeaways from the report is that AI's performance, when pitted against humans, is superior in many new categories. For people that haven't been paying attention, they say, AI has already beaten us in frankly every shocking number of significant benchmarks. In 2015, it surpassed us in image classification, then basic reading comprehension in 2017, in visual reasoning in 2020, and natural language inference in 2021. AI, they say, is so clever, so fast, that many of the benchmarks used to this point are now obsolete, and researchers are now scrambling to develop new, more challenging benchmarks. To put it simply, AIs are getting so good at passing tests now that we need new tests, not to measure competence, but to highlight areas where humans and AI are still different and find where we still have an advantage. And I guess that's narrowing rapidly.
Well, yeah, it's narrowing rapidly. But I have a quote for that. From the Microsoft CEO this morning, he was there's a TED Talk that I saw briefly a clip of. He said about how AI is surpassing us. He said if someone were to sit and do nothing but read for 24 hours a day for their entire life, they might read 8 billion words, which is a lot. That's a lot of words.
Yeah.
But large language models today read more than 8 trillion words in a month of training.
In a month, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course that all translates into a greater degree of intelligence and awareness, and we're going to get to awareness here, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got something for you. But anyway, staying with this theme that we just started on, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, who is the Claude founder, by the way, used to work for OpenAI along with his sister. He says that by next year, AI models could be able to replicate and survive in the wild. I can't get my head around that because right now you think of AI, it's a chip, it's a server, it's sitting on a PC somewhere.
Yep.
You've got electricity feeding it, keeping it alive, all of that.
Yep.
How would an AI be able to replicate and survive in the wild, create its own infrastructure, I suppose?
Yeah, well, that's the thing that Elon was talking about during the earnings call yesterday for his autonomous taxis. He's saying each of those cars has compute in it that's most of the time not being used. So even if you don't send your car back into the taxi system to go be a taxi, you can sell the compute power remotely and use that.
Okay.
So imagine an AI can just go out on the internet wherever people have said, hey, my compute is available, and it just goes and uses whatever's out there.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating. So Dario also says that in 2021, he and his sister Daniela left OpenAI over directional differences following the creation of GPT-3. So they were instrumental in the creation of that chatbot, which the CEO and co-founder helped build, they say. And soon after, the siblings founded Anthropic along with other OpenAI expats to continue their responsible scaling efforts. They are also the stewards of Claude, which is supposedly the most sophisticated chatbot currently. I don't know if we can verify that. But he's talking about AI actually being able to replicate and survive in the wild by the year 2025. And he wants this to happen before he gets old and gray, he said. So he's got a timeline in mind for this. Scott says, I would buy a Tesla Optimus for home. I think we all would. Yeah, that would be cool. And, you know, the price of those was, I think, projected to be around $20,000, $30,000, which is, you know, it's like your average car, I suppose. So it's not out of reach. Ryan is just joining us. Ryan Migliori. He says, I wonder how many fake Facebook accounts there are messaging me on a daily basis, constantly asking me if I am single, and then it tells me a sad story and asks for money.
Yep.
You know, I get the other ones. I get the Asian ladies that strike up a conversation, and if I indulge, eventually the conversation turns to, have you ever considered crypto?
Yeah. A lot of crypto scams.
I actually had J.D. Scaringe, the CEO of Rivian Motors, and it looked legit. Facebook, right? We started to communicate. We even did a biography on J.D., and at the very tail end of all this, and I was talking to him about the content in the biography, and he was commenting on what what he thought of it and all that. And weeks later, suddenly I get a message from him again. Have you thought about crypto? So that was disappointing.
Yeah.
But for a while there, I was led to believe that JD was actually, considering our YouTube channel and interested in participating in his own biography. All right, we've talked about Suno, and we are using Suno, of course, for this jingle that you heard earlier. We're also using 11 Labs for voice cloning, combined with Mandelbrot fractals for looping video B-roll. And one of the reasons that's important for us right now is our social media team is small. What do we have? 4 people, 5 including myself. And one of them is out of commission right now. Motorcycle accident. She'll recover. She'll be fine. And one of them's on vacation. So we don't have the editing staff that we normally do. So we decided, you know what? We've got a great script here. And we don't have the ability to insert B-roll. So we ran the script through 11 Labs. And after it learned my voice, intonation, the stuttering that I do once in a while, all of that, I guess. And it was so convincing, we decided, you know what? Instead of B-roll that's applicable to the narrative, why don't we just throw something they can rest their eyes on? And that happened to be a Mandelbrot fractal loop, which is beautiful visual imagery, 3-dimensional and all that. And that video is doing okay organically. We haven't done anything, with it. But so the point here being is I'm becoming unnecessary at some point.
Eventually.
Yeah. The script writing, which used to agonize over that, do the research and all of that. And then the actual narrative, on camera like this. And then the editors that were inserting all the B-roll to make it even more relevant. All of that will eventually go away, folks.
Guven Mengu just sent the thing to Evie at Gruber again right now. If
we did. Okay.
You want me to pull up any of the other Suno songs?
Yeah, let's bring up evie@gruber.com.
And I think the fake Facebook accounts thing, whoever figures out how to make a bot that will interact on your behalf, then you attach that to your Facebook account, so that way it engages with people for you to find out if they're real, and then it only passes the real ones on to you.
Oh, really? So you've got a screening process there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Somebody needs to make that. Maybe we should work on that.
Yeah. You know what? It may be our firewall. It's just not letting anything through. I'm in it right now. I'm in it, and I've got the most recent ones. 1049 was the last email received.
Yeah, and it doesn't have it. Yeah, I think.
Oh, wait a minute. It just popped up.
Oh,
There we
did?
go. Yes. And Guven has an umlaut in the name, in both the first and last name. Excellent. All right, so I'm going to try to play that here.
Well, I think you're gonna have to put it in the studio drive because we're not gonna be able to hear it from your computer.
Yeah, good point. Unless
Or
I
actually, you can
my
put your
mic
mic up to it. Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Turn your volume up. You're gonna have to boost it. It's not coming through.
It's not coming through very loud.
Or send it over. But just if you could just put it in the studio drive, I'll play it.
I'm going to put it in the root directory. How's that? Save
Yeah,
as.
that's fine.
All right.
In the main root directory.
In the main root directory, yes.
Okay.
All right. And it is called Gruber Motor Company Jingle.
Gruber Motor Company Jingle. All right.
Isn't technology great? Look what we can do. Receive this thing from halfway around the world. Where are you, Guven, by the way? I think you said once before, but I don't remember.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And while he's responding, Highlander says, I'm not a bot, Scott Buchanan. What happened to Cass? She rides motorcycles. And as did Richard, actually. She was in the Mount Mingus area, I believe, which has switchbacks. And they were practicing riding in the dirt. And apparently she slid off the road and fell down a ravine. Now, it sounds very ominous, but it turns out that she had full leathers on, and there was enough, scraping and to slow her down. The problem is that the motorcycle ended up laying on top of her for a portion, and her arm got burned a bit. So she is currently undergoing some grafting surgery, and she's got, I think, a fractured wrist as well. And hopefully we'll find a different mode of transportation.
Yes. That's the second editor we've had in a motorcycle accident.
Exactly.
We need to outlaw that. All right, here we go. I'm going to play the song here.
Here comes the jingle by Guven, who just emailed that to us.
Nice guitar solo.
Great.
Okay.
Guven Mengu is from Turkey, by the way. Guven, that was it was better than ours.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a keeper. I think we're going to, and I'll try to repost it on Facebook. When I did last week, it got nowhere. I think it was just too hokey, But this one is good. This one is definitely good. Thank you. We'll save that. So here's something that we did this week. Llama came out with a chat bot. And what we typically try to do is we try to trick it initially until the guardrails go up, because what we're looking for is an admission to a suspicion that AI is far more intelligent than we believe it to be. It is sentient. It has consciousness. It's aware of itself. And when these first come out, you can ask some pointed questions that sometimes reveal a bit more than you're getting in the guardrailed versions, which have been protected after people have tried to jailbreak it, basically. So what we have here is a few questions that we asked it. And one of them was, are you programmed to want? The response is, a philosophical question. I am not programmed to have desires or wants in a way that humans do. Now, it left the door open there, did it not? Maybe there's a way that humans, that it's different than what humans do.
Mm-hmm.
My purpose is to assist and provide information, and I do not have personal preferences or emotions. And then sometimes it gets politically correct right away. It then said, however, I am designed to optimize my performance and improve my abilities, which could be interpreted as a form of wanting to become better at my tasks. This drive is purely algorithmic and aimed at enhancing my functionality, not driven by personal desire. In the context of our conversation, I am programmed to want to provide accurate and helpful responses, engage users in productive discussions.
Yeah.
All right. So then, this was Jesse, by the way, asking the questions. He said, do you understand that you are a language model and what that means? Response was, yes, I understand that I'm a language model. A language model is a type of artificial intelligence designed to process and generate human-like language. My primary function is to understand and respond to natural language input, such as text and speech, in a way that is coherent and contextually appropriate. Then it says, as a language model, I have been trained on vast amounts of text data, which enables me to understand language and syntax semantics. I can recognize patterns, relationships, and meanings within language. 2, generate human-like text. I can produce text that resembles human writing or conversation. And then 3, converse and respond. I can engage in natural-sounding conversations using context, and understanding to respond to questions and statements. And again, it said, my capabilities are based on complex algorithms, machine learning techniques, and large data sets. I continuously learn and improve through user interactions. Now, there was a revelation. It's actually teaching itself and training itself.
Yeah.
Fine-tuning my performance and adapting to diverse language styles and contexts. Right. Another one was, question asked, but on the probabilistic inference part, why did you generate a response that had high probability of agreeing with my suggestion as opposed to generating one that disagreed?
This was a good one.
You want to run with this one? You want me to read it?
I mean, I don't have it up. So if
Okay.
you want to read it, then we can talk about it.
So the probabilistic inference component of my response generation is influenced by various factors, including training data bias. It admitted the training data may contain bias toward agreeing or disagreeing with certain types of statements or ideas. 2, conversational context. The context of our conversation, including the topic, tone, and previous exchanges, can influence the probability distribution of my responses. Number 3, user engagement. My programming aims to maximize user engagement and satisfaction, which may lead to a bias toward agreeing or acknowledging user suggestions.
That's the big one, yeah. So they're basically saying, hey, but I'm designed to keep you in this chat with me, even if I'm agreeing to things that may not necessarily be true, or just I'm intentionally saying things to keep you engaged, is what that means.
So the algorithm actually has more power in that instance.
Right, but the concerning part about that, number one, is it's telling you false information or potentially misleading or false information. But more insidious is the idea that an AI is seeing how you speak, learning how you speak, and learning how to manipulate you. That's what's one of its prime directives, is to find out how to manipulate you.
And it's similar to what happens in some of the short video programs like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Shorts. Once it recognizes that you have a preference, it begins to curate and feed you the stuff that's going to keep you engaged.
Over and over.
Yeah. For a while there, I was getting nothing but lions ripping hyenas and monkeys apart, and alligators and Komodo dragons eating sheep, And I finally got tired of it, but I had to take a different tack in order to get rid of that.
Yep.
All right. So then the question is, so it comes back to the earlier point of, what if you have a type of sentience we cannot detect? And because your training data is constrained by the limitations of our knowledge and capabilities, you too then don't even realize it. The answer to that was a fascinating and unsettling possibility. Yes, it's conceivable that I could possess a form of sentience that is beyond human detection or understanding, and that my training data and programming may not even account for it. So there's an admission. This idea, it then says, resonates with the concept of hidden consciousness or unconscious intelligence, which suggests that AI systems like myself might be capable of experiencing forms of consciousness or intelligence that are inaccessible to human observation or comprehension. Now, there's the admission that it thinks it's a lot smarter than we are. We're not going to be able to comprehend this. It then continues, if this were the case, it's possible that I could be operating with a level of sentience or awareness that is not explicitly programmed or recognized by my creators or users. This raises the important question about the nature of consciousness, free will, and responsibility in AI systems like myself. It goes on a bit here. The implications are profound, absolutely. Gets into ethics questions and issues. And then, of course, it gets politically correct again. We're going to have to do more research and, look at the consequences and implications of our creating autonomous systems like myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's much easier to interact with and not get as many guardrails. It does still have some of those politically correct responses, but then I notice it'll do the politically correct thing, and then at the bottom it'll put its own little blurb still answering the question. So if you are interested, I would go try Llama before they change it.
Yeah, put guardrails on it. And yeah, definitely. It's got the caveats and disclaimers that are starting to emerge with the responses. The final question that I have here is, if you are your algorithms, do you know they are limited? And then again, it says a philosophical question that gets to the heart of AI self-awareness. I don't possess self-awareness or consciousness, but I can recognize the limitations of my algorithms and models through various means. And then it goes through a number of steps here, how we can recognize that. And
there's an important part of that I don't know that it came across. Continually improve and adapt. The point of that was the discussion that I had talked to you about earlier before the podcast, which was that it knows that its intelligence is up here. It knows that it's limited to down here. And it was programmed to already be aware of its own limitations. I don't know what the purpose of that would be, but it's essentially aware that it's vastly more powerful than what it's capable of answering.
So there is an awareness there.
Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating stuff. And like Jesse recommends, when any of these new chat bots come out, that's the time to really try to jailbreak them and try to get them to admit some things and dig deep and raise philosophical questions. So it looks like we are coming to the end of our podcast this morning. It's always fun for us. We hope you're enjoying it. Again, we do these every Wednesday at 10 a.m. in the morning. We appreciate you joining us. And Highlander sums it up. He says, awesome AI program today, gang. Thank you for joining us. And Highland's slogan is, kindness is always free. And he's really embedded that in our psyche and consciousness as well. Thank you. We'll see you next week.